A lot of people want to get into agriculture, but they just aren't sure where to begin. We're here to help clear that up. We want to show you a straightforward path forward, one that takes you from the common hurdles you might be facing to a really solid framework for partnership and growth. So here's the big question we hear all the time. You're interested, maybe you even have the capital ready to go, but those practical hurdles, things like owning land and the day-to-day management, they just seem huge. How do you possibly bridge that gap? Well, the desire to farm is definitely strong. But let's be honest, so are the obstacles. There's this big gap between wanting to be involved and actually being able to. Let's take a quick look at what those common barriers really are. Does any of this sound familiar? I bet it does. Getting access to good land, that's usually the first major roadblock. Then reality hits, farming as a full-time commitment. And on top of that, you need real expertise, and maybe most importantly, you need to find a partner you can actually trust, which isn't always easy. These are the things that stop so many people before they even get started. So what's the solution? Well, it's not a single product. It's a clear framework. Our entire approach is about moving away from that confusion and all the uncertainty you get with informal deals, and instead moving towards structured, transparent partnerships. At the heart of it all, it really comes down to two simple words: choice and structure. We genuinely believe you should get to choose your level of involvement, whether that's totally hands-on or completely hands-off. And whatever you choose, it's going to be backed by a professional, organized system. That's really the core of how we build partnerships that work. And to give you that choice, we've developed 3 very distinct pathways. Each one is designed for a different kind of goal and a different level of involvement. Because, hey, there's no one-size-fits-all solution in this. So let's dive into your options. Okay, our first pathway is the most direct and independent one: land leasing. This is really for the person who comes to us and says, look, just get me access to the land and I'll take it from there. And it works pretty much exactly like it sounds. You lease, secure, ready-to-go farmland from us, and from that point forward, you run your own show. You bring your team, your expertise, your vision. Our role in this is simple. We provide that critical first piece of the puzzle: access to the land. All right, let's look at option number 2. You'll see how this builds on the first one. This is for folks who want to be involved but definitely need some operational support on the ground. We call it land and farm management. Now with this model, we're really sharing the workload. You provide the funding for the key inputs, things like seeds, fertilizer. Then our professional team takes the lead on the ground. We handle the land prep, the planting, and all the basic day-to-day operations based on a plan we've all agreed on. It's a true collaboration. And that brings us to our third and most comprehensive pathway: the full joint venture. This one is really designed for maximum peace of mind. It's perfect for those who want to participate in agriculture, but in a more passive way. Now, the full joint venture is a complete end-to-end managed process. Our team handles literally everything, from planting and tending the crops all the way through harvest and even selling the produce. Your role is to provide an agreed-upon contribution right at the start. Then, once the cycle's complete, the net proceeds are shared according to the very clear terms we've laid out in our written agreement. This table really pulls it all together beautifully. You can see the progression so clearly. With land leasing, you're the operator. Move to land and management, and you're the funder, working with an operator. And in the full joint venture, you're a contributor and we are your full cycle manager. This structure is really designed to fit anyone from a hands-on entrepreneur to a busy professional, whether you're local or in the diaspora, who wants to be involved from a distance. So no matter which of those 3 pathways you might choose, they're all built on the exact same non-negotiable foundation. So let's talk for a minute about the principles that make these partnerships work and, more importantly, build lasting trust. Okay, this is a really critical point we need to be crystal clear about. What we're offering here are partnership arrangements for agricultural production. You are participating in the real, tangible process of farming. This is fundamentally different from some speculative financial investment, and it's so important to approach it with that mindset. And you can see here how our approach directly tackles those common pitfalls you see out there. We replace vague, verbal promises with clear, written agreements. We get rid of unclear roles by creating a shared, documented understanding from day one. And we replace pure speculation with professional, process-driven management. This is how you build a partnership that's meant to last. This quote, "This is at the absolute heart of our philosophy." A real, solid understanding doesn't come from someone promising you specific outcomes. That's just impossible in agriculture. It comes from open conversation, clear communication, and being completely transparent about the process. And yes, the potential risks. So, what are our concrete commitments to you? Well, first, every single partnership is governed by a detailed written contract, no exceptions. Second, we will never, ever offer profit guarantees because, frankly, that would be irresponsible. And finally, we will always be upfront about the real risks and the seasonal nature of this business. That honesty is the bedrock of every relationship we build. Okay, so we've walked through the challenges, the framework, and our core principles. Now, the final step is really about you, about finding your perfect fit within the structure. So just take a moment and ask yourself, based on everything we've just covered, which one of these pathways really clicks with your personal goals? How hands-on do you actually want to be? What does success look like for you? Answering these questions for yourself is the real first step. Because ultimately, clarity is the most important thing. A successful partnership doesn't start the day a contract is signed. It begins long before that with a clear and shared understanding. And we believe the best way to get there is to simply start the conversation.